What's going on, Paintball World? This is your guy, The Prophet. We're back with another episode. This topic tonight is for the people and future events with my guy, Matthew Heavy. Matthew Heavy Rifleman, which is also HR, technical. I have to say, man, to have you on this platform, first and foremost, is an honor, for you to be here as my guest. Just for you to talk about this topic, man. It's already amazes me how it's going to go. Because not gonna lie, I've been watching your page. We met at 0 hour. I was very honored to meet you as well there. I heard a lot of great things about you from Canada to the U.S. Even at my MagFed community in Jersey. So I'm very pleased, man, to have you on my platform today, man. So just for real quick, if you can just introduce yourself and just talk a little bit more about, where the name came from, HR.
Yeah, well, I'm first off, I'm happy to be here, so thank you for having me on. My full name is Matthew Biga, so my last name is Biga. I was a chef for years and went into marketing, and I've been using some of that skill set that I have, trying to bring to the paintball world and see what I can do to help out as far as getting players what they need and creating the event and um, I plan on doing some much more in the future here. Just everything takes money, so
Yeah.
paintball's not cheap, and it's definitely not cheap from this aspect either. So,
Yeah.
um, as the community supports the business, which um, as I've gotten started, it's grown quite fast already, and I appreciate the support from everybody. As time goes on, more could happen, more support. So, I can't say that I've really made anything off of this venture. It's kind of just a side hustle, side project, right? Like,
Yeah.
I started off just printing one part for myself because I had a Diadem, and it was annoying me that when I was out of ammo, my gun would still keep firing because the follower in the CF20 mags triggered the DM's eyes. So, um, I was actually good friends with the head of additive manufacturing at Rivian. Actually, I'm from
Okay.
Detroit, so big car industry here. So knew some people in manufacturing for that, and talked with them a little bit about 3D printing, which this is more like advanced additive manufacturing than really 3D printing. It's like you can do on-demand stuff, right? So started off making parts with SLS printing and MJF printing, which is quite superior to anything that you can do really in your house, although SLS is starting to become household too. Difference being that it's not like extruded plastic. SLS and MJF is like fused powder, and the durability of it is superior to anything FDM just because there's no separation of layer lines and whatever. So things don't crack, especially under pressure. You get a handguard made out of FDM. If you over tighten something, it's going to shatter. Whereas this is going to do that. So, and there's some pluses to it too, because like when you print that style, it prints out a big block of powder, and then the parts get broken up. So there's no supports. So you can do a lot of stuff that you can't really do with any other type of print type. So I started off doing some printed stuff, and my roommate and best friend is a graphic designer. He made a logo for me, and just kind of hit the ground running with it because I was like, okay, I was doing enough volume, like PayPal side hustle Facebook thing that like I was like, okay, I kind of need to go legit now, right? Like get a LLC, protect myself. And then I found out all the expenses that come with that, and was like, all right, I need to figure out how to make this make money because it's not going to support itself. And I was like, all right, well, I guess the best thing to do to sell more paintball items is to sell paintball items to go with it, right? So then I broke into retail and got a Shopify account and all that stuff, right? So not everything on the site. I can't carry all of that. Like, I don't have a warehouse yet. Like, it's everything on the site is available. Is it necessarily like I can go walk and grab it and ship it? No, but I can get it to you. So, whether it be drop shipping or sometimes it has to come to me, and it might be 1 or 2 day processing time, and then I get it to you. Like, everything moves pretty quickly on the like retailer aspect of things. There's just sometimes stuff goes out of stock, and I can't look at 1,400 products every single day, so sometimes stuff goes out of stock. But I'm always transparent. I'll either cancel order before I actually process payment or whatever. It just depends on what happens. But that's just all part of being a retailer. Like any other retailer online is going to do the same thing. So they don't necessarily have the storage space for everything that they can get. So, that's kind of where it came from a little bit, and where it's kind of evolved into quickly. And now, after this trek throughout the year that I've done, I've been all over creation, and I still got a couple more spots to go. So, because I went out to the East Coast a couple of times, and that's where I seen you.
Yeah.
Right? I went up into Wisconsin, Indiana. I have local here in Michigan. Next month I'll be in Pennsylvania, and then I'm going down to Texas. So, like, I went down to Texas first. That was my first event I ever did. I went right to Texas.
Okay.
So, and that was my first event. I did it with a little $30 Walmart tent, a fold-out table, and a rack of only my printed stuff before I did any retail stuff. Coming back there and having a fully branded tent with all the retail items and all my items, and should make a lot more of a show.
I have to say though, the drive, just the time you put in. I know it's not easy. Just from my own experience as a businessman as well, what drives you just to have that mentality, each and every day, waking up knowing that you can make a difference in someone's life when it comes to paintball, and of course outside of paintball.
Well, honestly, it's about community in a way. Like, I work a full-time job from home, so I'm not about meeting new people or anything. I work as a brand manager for a contract food, actually the largest contract food service company in the U.S., and work on the corporate team in the healthcare sector of it, doing sushi and restaurant pop-ups and food trucks. That's my main. That's my money, my bread and butter. That's what I make money off of, because that's my job, my main job. And I used to travel a whole bunch with the position I was in before this. I was literally in a hotel for 256 nights of the year at one point. So, 2/3 of the year I was in a hotel. So I got to meet a bunch of people when I was interactive, but then I kind of missed that when I roll out of bed every morning and just go down my flight of stairs and sit on my computer and then talk to people through the computer. It's not really fulfilling as far as connecting with people. So, that's why I get so much energy out of this, I guess, because I'm a people person. I've been in the hospitality industry all my life, honestly. I started as a dishwasher, so I was in the kitchen. So just being able to connect with people that are like-minded and like the same things I do and get the same amount of excitement out of what they're doing. And, it's different when you're around people because they're in a hospital, your family's sick, or either working at a hospital because they need to make a paycheck, versus you're talking to people about paintball and how excited they are, and it's their leisure time and they're excited to be there. The energy is totally different. Not saying there's anything wrong with the other energy, because I've been in that environment and know how to deal with it, but it does make more for an enjoyable environment because everybody's more positive,
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess that's probably what drives me to keep going, really.
Okay. So I know for me, I spent years and years just putting pieces together as time kept going. I didn't personally know what I wanted to do. When it came to business, I knew that I wanted to help people. And I know when having a business, you have to have some kind of quote or some kind of saying, just to get your name out there, or just to have a background or a logo of like what it means. So for example, the Prophet Wolf, was really the Prophet. And that name really just came from a paintball event, really, which is usually how it goes. When you get that name from paintball event. Because a lot of people know that I'm a Christian man. I love God. I'm a stand-up man. I'm here for the people, right? And so when I look at life, I think about the things that Jesus Christ did, for the people, and how he just helped so many in a small period of time, and how he was always for them, even in their own times where they were in need or were suffering or struggling. So that's how I kind of view myself a lot of times when being called the prophet. And I know that's a lot to take in that, but just saying like a prophet to me sees the vision, sees things that he knows or she knows can make happen, and that's part of the reason why like I decided to make it that name, because so many people like look up to me as a leader, look up to me as a man for the people, um, and even given that opportunity and that title, it really means a lot, and that's why I'm always here for the people, because I think it's important to put people first, because you never know what someone's going through. Yeah.
I think I can relate to that. I'm more of a caretaker. That's why I enjoyed the hospital work. And diving into my personal life a little bit, I grew up, my father was handicapped from about mid-chest down and paralyzed. So I grew up in that household. I think that happened when I was like 4 years old, and he passed away when I was 26, I think it was. So 19, 20 years of being around my father, he paralyzed, just taking care of him. And so like naturally I kind of gravitate towards that still. So anything that I can do to help, I'm generally there to do. And that carries on to my job now. And that's what drives me to keep going with my day job. Plus I just like food. I mean, I was a chef, so I was always a foodie, so that always got me going. And yeah. I played paintball when I was little. My dad used to buy big cylinders of CO2 just so we could go out and play, and he bought us the guns. And even though he couldn't go out with us, he live off of our little war stories of us going out in the backwoods behind our house and playing with the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
When we started going to House Survivors a couple times, I get to tell him those stories. Or one time we had a event it was like during the economy crashing, and this golf course was getting foreclosed on, and local paintball guy Jason, he was able to organize an event on the foreclosed golf course and use the golf carts as vehicles. So that was fun, so he always lived off of those stories and all the war stories and everything. He kept us playing, and when we were 14, we couldn't really afford all this stuff ourselves. He was buying it for us. So
yeah.
So a little piece of him is in there a little bit. And then I stopped playing because I went to college and got busy with my career and everything, and came back a few years ago and dove in and found MagFed and loved it. And I'm not really a veteran when it comes to MagFed. I did dive in and learn as much as I could because I loved it right away, but I haven't been around as long as some of the old timers that you see on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I am a cancer survivor too. 2 years ago I lost my kidney to kidney cancer. I had a really rare form of kidney cancer that's only in children typically. Like only 5% of adult cases is the type that I had, and it was really aggressive, but I caught it really early, so it was fine. But I had to have a full like open surgery, so I look a scar from like below my belly button all the way to my chest from when they had to pull that out. And then a year later, I had to get my gallbladder out too, so I had 2 like back-to-back abdominal surgeries. And just kind of like taking a step back and realizing that there's more to life than, working in a way and not doing the things that you love. Kind of brought me back to paintball. So it's kind of how I dove back in, really got back into the sport. Just because it was something I could keep active, meet people, and have fun again, and not just work my life away because I was a shop and working crazy hours, 50 hours a week, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So a little different lifestyle.
Man, I can definitely say this, man. I can definitely relate to some of the things that you said. Speaking from my own experience, I lost my father at 19, man, and he was a great leader, great man. He did the best he could for the 6 of us, three boys and 3 girls, and I have to say, one thing about our fathers, they laid down a pretty good foundation for us. And that's part of the reason why paintball became like something that I enjoy, but also help people. And my father, he was a big dude when it came to helping people. He loved people, and he's a huge people person. So, looking back at him and how he helped so many people in his time made me dig deep into what I can do as I get older. And that's part of the reason why, like, I got close with God more because of him, and also like being an example. I think being an example goes a long way. When someone sees you and they see the thing that you're doing, it draws them into it. And so there's a quote that I go by. It goes like this: the man that views the word at 40, same way he views the word at 20, has wasted 20 years of his life. And so when I say that quote so much, I like to remind myself that, you never know who's watching you. You never know who's looking up to you or the time you're in. Don't waste time doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. And I'm pretty sure we all been there in life where we've done things that we're not proud of. But one thing about God, he puts you in situations that you can handle. And that's part of the reason why I, appreciate the things that my father did for me at a young age and where it took me at. And so I'm forever grateful that happened for me. Yeah. So that's just my take on that. But
nice take. I like it.
My next question for you, like, when did paintball become a reality for you? When you started getting so much attention? I know we all have our time where it comes our way. Like, when did paintball just became like, you know what, I can really do this? I think if I continue on my mission or my objective or just the goal that I have for this, I know I can do so much more for this community.
I guess, like, it's funny because I don't know if I I don't want to say I sound because it could sound like I'm misdirected, but I don't really have a goal for it. Like I'm not really looking to try to replace my job.
Yeah.
I like my work too much.
Yeah.
Like this would be completely fulfilling to the point where I could leave that job. Now, could I hire someone and open up an actual pro shop or whatever? And yeah, possibly. You know, I have the entrepreneurial spirit. My father was an entrepreneur all his life.
Yeah.
Even when he fell sick, he was a lathe worker at a machine shop that he owned with his brothers, and took some of his equity in that and the house that he owned at the time for our family, and bought apartment buildings, and that's how he stayed afloat while he couldn't work. So like I grew up with that entrepreneurial spirit. It's in my blood. It's all over my dad's side because they're all owners of that machine shop. So like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I get some of the technical ability too, in order to be able to make some of the stuff that I have, because I understand it. Now, I can't CAD, and I use freelancers to do that, and I job out the machining, but I understand, and I measure and make sure things work and do all the testing aspects of it. So, I can't do everything. I don't have as many arms. You know, I got to do inventory, ordering, you know, part development, R&D, design, all of that stuff. Like I got to figure out all of those things and be involved in all of those processes still. Like I can't do everything myself. So I work with freelancers where I need to, whether it be help me build my site or web develop or CAD work or use a company for printing or so. Yeah, it's all done like that, but it's all tested and looked at by me still. Like I'm involved in every part of the process. I am a one-man show.
Yeah.
So I bring in my brother to help every once in a while if I need it, like I did at 0 Hour. Really, he's there so I can still play because I don't want this to stop me from playing. I could have ran 0 Hour by myself, but I wanted to be able to step away or at least have him work the tent so that, you know, a year or two down the road, I can actually just fully be like, hey, come run this for me so I can go play. So like, but other than that, it's all, I mean, it's pretty much me, you know, like I get help from my roommate if I need something designed or I bounce an idea off of him because he plays too. And Sean at Intensity Customs is very helpful too. He's a great company. I carry his stuff on my site too, but he's got a ton of other things too that players would be interested in. Awesome guy though, very helpful, and he's the one who designed my tent, so he helped me with all that as well.
Nice.
He actually, he's going to be working with me from all the position logos too. So those positions I was showing you earlier before we went live, I can talk a little bit about those too.
Yeah.
We can talk about something else.
Yeah, for sure. How long you been in the game for? You know, just been doing paintball.
Oh gosh. You know, I started when I was 14, so you know, early, like mid 2000s, I think. Yeah, mid 2000s roughly, and then took a huge gap. I think I took like a 10-year gap because I was in college and working to build my career. So I had a lot of time off, but always like my roommate that I live with now and my best friend, we met because of paintball.
Yeah.
So like it's always been a thought, and I was actually sitting in my house now with him, and he's like, I've been thinking about getting back into paintball. It's like, yep, I'm in, let's do it. And then we both bought guns and we started playing again. It was a very impulsive decision.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was interesting about it, because when I dove back in, I didn't feel the sense of community that I thought I had, that I thought I remembered. I was looking for it and found it, and that was in Magva, because I was a big game player when I left paintball and loved Spec Ops paintball, Special Ops paintball. and the brigade and all the community that drove around it and all of that. And I didn't see that in the big game environment, the woods ball environment. It's not there. Competitive paintball never really interested me much, and it's a totally different vibe. It's not the same. It's competitive. It's like a sports team. That's not what I'm talking about. It's more of the like brotherly, like the brotherly love, so to speak, right? Even though we're shooting at each other, but like I saw that in MagFed. I saw that on the MagFed page that Justin runs, great Facebook page.
Yeah.
But like I started seeing familiar faces, and then when I started getting out to events, you know, I get to meet a lot of these people that I converse with on Facebook, which is awesome. It's been so much fun meeting everybody. That like that's where I found the community, and that like I really felt that they're missing that piece of something to kind of rally behind, like the old "We Are Woods Ball" slogan that Spec Ops ran was what everybody rallied behind. Like you talked about your paintball position, you were a broadsword, like that's what you did. You were that was involved. That was your whole paintball persona was based around your position. Whether you're a dagger and you're a front pan, or saber and just kind of well rounded, and you know, a sniper because you're trying to pick people off with your Q bow or whatever that you made with the old ions or the old autocockers back before First Strikes even existed. And I think right when I left was when the Tiberius pistol came out and First Strike rounds came out. It was right around that time when I stopped playing for it. So to come back, and I always dreamed of having a Dam when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then to come back and find out it was still relevant, I was like, wait, what?
The upgrade of it.
Yeah, so it still is relevant. It's not the best gun, but when it works, it's beautiful. It's a great gun when it works. And I'm working on fixing that too. So I've got one big thing planned here too coming up. All of those painful woes of the Dam should be resolved with it. And if you're a Dam user or had been a Dam user, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But you know, I think that's the only thing that drags that marker down. So you know that it could be, you know, the new cat's meow instead of the EMF. Who knows? But
I don't know, man. I always wanted to get the Dam. That was actually my first purchase that I wanted to do back in 2020. But then I just seen so many like reviews and comments, and I even in person I seen so many those Dams are just a mess, you know.
Well, the only reason why they're a mess is because they're harsh on O-rings.
Yeah.
Because their pressure, there's the system that they work on is made for like a super low pressure.
Yeah.
And then you put a high pressure through it, and it just like eats everything up.
Exactly. And I saw
one working on is something to fix that. So once that's fixed, you won't have those solenoid leaks. You won't have all the O-rings blowing out. You won't have to change your reg seal all the time because you'll be running a super low pressure gun. So like, you know, you tune your Dam into 550 and out for your output pressure on your tank, and your Dam holds up for a long time, not forever, but it holds up for a long time. You can run it. So like that generally is the problem with it, and getting that fixed is gonna help it out a lot. But like that's usually the only complaint, right? Like besides the people that are just diehard and want mech guns because there's still electronics in the Dam. Other than that, like the Dam's a beautiful marker. It shoots nice.
Yeah.
You can hold velocity just like any other gun. It honestly, I have an EMF2. I absolutely hate the trigger on it. A valve trigger is just not something that should be a thing. Like that's like it's cool as a mech gun because of it, but like a valve, like half pull your trigger on your EMF and tell me that's like something that should happen on a gun. Like you ever half pull an AR trigger? No, you get a clean break and it shoots. That's how it should be. A micro switch is how it should work. So
I agree. I agree, man.
So, like an e-trigger, having it all like the eye pipe, and I mean, like, okay, so you can get a lock bolt, but a lock bolt, you still get the like little pop noise. Like, again, that's a jam. Like, you're intentionally jamming your gun. Like, I mean, luckily the Gamma Core is like hardcore and it's not going to die because of that. But like, it's still not how it's intended to function. Like having eyes makes sense.
I got shot with both of them, when I got in the mag fed, man. And I have to say, the Diadem was my first choice. Let's be honest. That was my first very choice. But the accuracy on the EMF it kind of drove me to like get it. I can't lie. Like I like accuracy,
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about a Gamma Core.
Yeah,
it's not that old of tech.
It's easy maintenance.
I mean, it's not just maintenance though. Like the Diadem was built on an old proto gun. So you're talking when I stopped playing paintball, proto was relevant.
Yeah.
So that core system, that operating system that's on it is old. It's old tech. Yeah. So, updating that internal system is what could fix that gun. Like getting those things tweaked. And, maybe one day someone will do that. But like trying to compare it to Gamma Core, like it's not, you can't. Like, yeah, it was it's still the same type of valve, but like it's old tech. It's not going to be as consistent. That's where your accuracy comes in. People don't really think about that. That's actually another interesting topic. I get asked all the time, what's the most accurate barrel, or what's this, or how can I get my accuracy up? There's like a couple layers to paintball accuracy, especially when you throw purse strikes. Because now you have like, I don't know if I can angle myself right on the screen. There we go. So like, you're talking about accuracy in a way that you're talking about blowing down a barrel. So like, when you're shooting down range, you want consistent feet per second, because the feet per second is the velocity, which means it controls how far it's going to go before it starts to arch. Because it reaches that velocity drop off, and that's where it starts to arch, right? So like if you're shooting 260, you're going to arch down, and then you get a 280 shot, you're going to arch over. So now looking at that vertically, your paintball is going to hit here, and then all of a sudden it's going to hit down here because you have a lower velocity. It's going to hit lower. So that's part of your accuracy, and as far as like a circle goes, right? So being consistent is really important. And that's why I always tell everybody about the Whisper Drive for the EMF 100, because what they did was they took all of the like design elements that Planet Eclipse did to their Gamma Core to make the OP core that's in the CS3 and the 180R.
Yeah.
Taking all those expansion areas and opening them up and everything makes it so you get more stable velocity. Kind of the side effect is that changes the sound signature. That's what's called a Whisper Drive. But what they did when they made the Whisper Drive is that they took those things that were done to that Gamma Core to make the OP core and just made it so it fit into a Gamma Core body, because they milled the body differently for the OP core to make it so it had even more expansion area. So it doesn't quite do as good of a job as what an OP core does. So it'll still be like a worthy thing later on to upgrade, kind of. But like it gets you pretty close. So that's what Whisper Drive is. And Whisper Drives are great. Currently they're sold out right now, and they'll be restocked next month. So I have it set for pre-order on the site, and you can get one from me. But like I always tell everybody to get that, because that's going to help your accuracy. Now a good barrel is going to too, because now you're talking about keeping something bore sized to the paintball, because what happens is the ball travels down the barrel, and instead of when you're bore sized tightly, the air stays behind the ball and still pushes it. But if you have a loose bore, your air is going to go out in front of it and not push it as hard. So now you're talking about inconsistencies too, because sometimes more air or less air will escape. So now your velocity consistency is like all over the place too. So like a tight bore size is really important. Same with good paint, because that also controls consistency and bore size and dimpling, which causes the air to go through to all that. So yeah, good paint is probably the most important, because if you don't have consistent size paint, then all of those other things don't matter.
Yeah. What is the best paint? Can you say?
It depends on what your goal is, right? So like, if you're playing MagFed, like Vulcan Graffiti, hands down, because the shell holds up, it doesn't dent in the mags. Like, it's a quality paint that doesn't break. It's well taken care of. I mean, I think that's something that stands out about it, is like you go into the bag and there's a pack, a moisture pack in there to keep the moisture out. Like, that's a big thing. So like, I would say that. And then there's some other like premium grade paints that are like made for soft break, which can't really use in mags because it's going to break in your mag. But that would be a good paint as well. That's why I say it depends on what your goal is, right? Like if you're trying to play MagFed, then yes, there's specific paints you probably need to stay away from.
Yeah.
The good paint is consistent in size and will break on target. That's what you want. And it's well taken care of. I personally think, sorry.
No, you good.
A little bit, but like I personally get upset with fields sometimes, which I get that paint's expensive. I get that sometimes it's out of your control, but like if I go to a restaurant or a cheeseburger and let's say the burger patty broke off and like a quarter of the burger is gone, or your bun's squashed and has a thumbprint in it, you're going to probably return the burger, right?
Of course. I wouldn't even.
So like, if my
take it home,
shattered and dented and swollen,
yeah.
What do you think I should do as a customer? I should probably get a discount on it, or I should return it and get better paint. Like, upgrade me to premium. Oh, your premium is bad too? Then just discount me. Like, I don't have any control about it as a customer. So like I guess from my hospitality standpoint, like I look at that when I look at my business too. Like if I've sold something that I don't feel comfortable selling, I'll immediately reach out and be like, hey, whoa, I need to either back or do something about it. And that happened actually with my EMF blowers recently. I put out a couple of them, and I had something tweaked on the model, and then they missed adding a hole for 2 screws. And it was fixable pretty easily without having to reprint everything. But somebody mentioned it to me that it wasn't there when I went to go install it. And I was like, that's weird. It must have got deleted like mid last update. I was like, I can fix it. Just I'll either tell you exactly what to do, or you can send it back and I'll fix it for you and get it right back out to you. Like I was like panicking. When stuff like that happens, like I take it to heart. Like my heart races, adrenaline. I'm like, oh God, did that just happen? You know, like I get upset. Where like other retailers, not to talk names, but there's a couple of retailers, even the MagFed space or just the paintball space, that like something like that would happen, and they're just like, man, whatever, they'll figure it out on their own, or we have their money, it doesn't matter. And like that's not.
Yeah. I have to say, man, the only experience I ever had with bad paint was probably at Skirmish.
that's the place that gets the most talked about for that, which
Great.
That's a whole operation in itself. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, you see the pallets when you walk up there to get your paint.
Yeah. Great field, great people, bad paint. But I understand
that D-Day game is wild.
Yeah. I only went to I've been there maybe about 3 or 4 times. I know I went there for the Invasion of Normandy twice.
That's a rite of passage. Everybody should play that game.
Yeah, I'm kind of falling back from scenario games right now, or just in general. trying to stay more focused on like MagFed games. And
Yeah, I'm just saying that everybody should at least do it once.
oh yeah, just to get the feel of it. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because there's nothing like, and you got to be an American.
Yeah,
because there's nothing like when that horn blows and the sky turns black with paint. There's just no other feeling than that. It's insane.
Yeah, I know. For me, like my first time going there, that was probably one of the best experiences I ever had. And I was actually I wasn't even recording. Like I didn't even have no camera time. I was in beast mode. So I feel like when you're playing those type of games, you have to be in beast mode. You know.
Oh yeah.
Have to.
Very target rich environment.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
At 4,000 players, there's always someone or something to shoot at. Man, I just remember, gosh, I was out there in the woods there right behind the D-Day area.
Yeah.
I remember shooting and fighting with my friend, and I kind of got low on paint. So I was just kind of observing a little bit, just like kind of like enjoying the fact that I was there. Even though it was like swelteringly hot. I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah.
And like, I remember looking over to my right and just being in shock because I happened to turn. I heard a bunch of people yelling. I was like, what is going on? And it was 2 tanks driving up slow. And there was a crowd of like maybe like 80 people around them, all yelling and charging the enemy with like 4 guys that were like, you know, a little lighter on their feet out front, and then just like full on sprint and launch smoke grenades. It was just this like organized, crazy assault push. As I'm like hunkered down in a bunker, I happen to like look over and witness this. And like, you just don't get that at your average game because it's just not big enough for that. Like maybe the next one would be like Fulda or some of the stuff out west, but
yeah, I know for me, like I do plan to get out more, and travel more. I've only been to maybe a few states, one country, of course, Canada. Shout out to Canada. That was probably one of my favorite ones, to tell you the truth. That was a crazy event.
I had a good time when I went to Canada too.
Yeah.
I got to meet Nightmare, and I got to meet all the Frontlines guys and play with them and not be in game mode working 0 hour, but actually get to hang out with them. And
shout to Nightmare, man.
In the Intensity booth. That was nice too.
Yeah, shout to Nightmare. Shout to Frontline Podcast. Those guys are amazing. Shout out to Wolf Paintball and Hitman, man.
Those 2 guys were there too. Yep, I got to meet Hitman for the first time as well.
Hitman's a funny guy. That's my brother, man. You know, me and him, we were supposed to play with each other when I came down, but shout out to Tonka. Tonka was kind of low on people, and I kind of wanted to encourage his side. And you know, of course, Wolf was with us too, so that was just an amazing time.
Tonka's the Canadian general for Hell Under Siege.
That's also my next question, but I kind of want to wait to talk about that one.
Okay, we can wait.
But no, like, you know, this shout out to those guys, man. Those guys, sorry. Shout out to those guys, man. They really laid down a great foundation, you know, for Canadians. I mean, they love me down there. Let's just say that. But it's just the way they are, you know, when it comes to organized events and just the motivation they have, you know, it keeps me going, you know. And there's
a huge drive over there for paintball.
Oh yeah, way like
PRZ kind of helped that, but it's kind of been the scene's been injured a little bit as a result of PRZ closing. But I think it'll come back pretty quick. There's a couple promoters trying to do some work for it, and I think that maybe some more people in the community need to kind of take on that promoter role, or need to be a little more creative in what they do, like come over to Hell Under Siege across the border. But yeah, I mean, I liked playing over there. It felt totally different. It was kind of funny. I texted my roommate after because he saw Nightmare's video of Wasaga Beach big game, and that's the game I went to.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because I was out there, and like, usually in the States we're like, yeah, get out, you suck.
Trash talking.
Check your hopper. Come on, let's go. I just murdered you, And over there, they're like, oh, I got you out. I'm sorry. Like they're apologizing. Like, oh, that was a good hit, buddy.
Yeah, it's different.
It's like the most polite game of paintball I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, they're very polite. They're very polite, man. I was over by myself. There were a few guys that came over as well, but we played on different sides. Shout out to Winslow K, New Jersey. They was over there. About maybe 5 or 6 of those guys. Viper, Mayhem, Marcus of Mayhem. Shout out to him. That's my guy right there, my brother right there.
He's awesome.
James, and I believe Scarecrow. Yeah, so it was a fun time over there. Just us 5 or 6. And I have to say, like, they didn't really talk shit as much as I thought they would in the States.
Yeah, they're not like the one-shot, one-kill guys. They talk a lot of shit.
They was talking to, like I said a few things, but it really was like a friendly one. But
yeah, well, I mean, it all is, right? Like,
oh yeah,
unless you're actually about to throw hands, like it's all friendly. No. They're talking.
Right? Yeah, those guys are awesome, man. Shout out to those guys, man. They definitely do the thing over there, overseas, and can't wait to go over there next year. Hopefully, for your event and also for another event, Europe.
My event's in the States, but
okay,
it's Canadian themed. I think that's where everybody's getting a lot of confusion around it.
Yeah,
I'm not going into Canada. It's not in Canada. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought the same thing and I got it wrong. So my bad.
No, that's all right.
But no, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've had it happen yet. Like I think that the name might be a little bit confusing, but as I try to explain it more and more as time gets closer to the game, like people understand. Especially once the meme wars happen, I'm kind of waiting for some of the meme gods to spawn in and start doing their work for the game. But I know I got Creepshow lined up for some stuff probably soon here. But
another question I have for you as well.
Yeah, so that game should be good. I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And it's not like, I think that people also think that like it's my game. Like it is, but it isn't. It's a Hell Survivors game, and I'm helping them put it on. So it's not me being a fresh promoter, not knowing what I'm doing, trying to run this big game. No, yeah. It's a field that's tried and true, been around a long time, that wanted to do a MagFed game, and I offered to help them figure out how to do it.
Nice.
So I'm not making money off of it in a way either.
But no, the experience can go a long way.
Yeah, and it's exposure too. I mean, just talking about it's helpful. And it's done a lot for my credibility aspect too. I will be there as a vendor, so I'll make money in that aspect, but I'm not actually making money off admission or first strike sales or anything like that. So I'm doing that out of the pure goodness of my heart.
Yeah.
Same with loaning the Ares Alpha system too.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like I always say that the experience goes a long way when you have something like that planned. I know for me, that's something that I'll probably get deep into as well as we keep on continue on this podcast. What made you just think of that? Just go ahead and make that play. I know that has to be huge for you. Partnering with a field for a MagFed event.
I asked and they wanted to do it. I mean, honestly. So I'm coming from food service. I know doing combos of French fries and doing stuff like that, and food sales, that's the marketing I'm familiar with. So trying to figure out what works paintball wise. I'm kind of like, let's just do a little bit of everything and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And it's been working. Like I've done things that haven't worked. You know, I spent money on Facebook ads, and all I got were a bunch of people complaining about AR-15s and how they should be illegal. Like I was like, okay, why did I waste my money on this ad only for it to draw in the wrong audience? Like, you know, all that clickbaity stuff that the algorithm draws off of. But like, I think that part of it too is that like the general impression was the community supporting me in my paintball venture, trying to make money off paintball. And that's not really what this is. Like, I work a full-time job. That's what makes my money for my own personal use. Like, even to play with, even for the business, it's funded the business too. So I haven't made anything off of this. Eventually, I hope to, you know, draw a little bit for my time, but like the proportion probably won't be there for a long time. And it's not like I'm drawing a paycheck off of this.
Right.
So, especially at this point, like, there's no way. So doing the event is kind of like a, hey, like, let's do a big game somewhere else, do something different. Like, you guys have had the same games for a while. You know, I want to try it with this format. You know, let's see what we can do. I've got a field to back me. They got a beautiful field. It's, you know, one of the longest running paintball fields in the U.S. Like, it's a nice field to play on. It's a little bit different. It might feel a little bit different for MagFed too, but I've got a good variety in it and in the game types we're playing, and then just exploring the Ares Alpha system too a little bit. I think that's going to add a whole other dynamic that people aren't used to as well.
Can we talk a little bit more about it, or no?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like,
okay.
Like, do you want me to just run through the game format even? I can just kind of run through that.
Yeah, like what are like some of the goals, the objective, the missions?
Yeah, so actually,
the generals, you know.
Let me do this. I'm going to pull up the field map because that'll just help give perspective.
Gotcha. So let me know when you have it, and I'll go ahead and post it up.
There we go. This is kind of an older one, but it's fine. Oh, it took me into this page. There we go.
All righty, pulling the map up right now.
Cool. All right. Can you see my mouse too? You can. All right, awesome. Okay. So just running through the game. The first game will be the first part of the day. And I know this field, and it sucks to walk to the very back of the field, especially for respawning. So let's get that done and out of the way right when we first start playing, because everybody's got full energy, right?
This looks huge.
Yeah, it's 102 acres. So it's a pretty big field. We won't be using all of it at the same time, depending on how many players show up, because there might be some side objectives that I can fill out the field a little bit more, but it'll be most of it. There will be no open play walk-ons during this weekend. It will be just the event. So it will be closed off for visitors and everything unless they want to play the event and have MagFed gear.
So how many people you are expecting to be at this event?
I mean, I don't really know what to expect because everybody needs to get their pre-registrations in. We haven't gotten those yet. I know that the field owner has given away an entry, so we have one player right now. That being said, all of One Shot One Kill is talking about being there. All of the people coming over from Canada are coming. There's local people coming. There's my group of people that I know. There's the XO for the U.S. team, Mitten Tactical, whoever they rally from the local like Health Survivors open play scene that they're more familiar with, so they should rally some guys from there too. That and their team was going to be split up because they were also commanding the game at Paintball to Go. That was that. I think it was at Paintball to Go. No, it was one of the other Ohana. It was Ohana PB's game. It was the same weekend, but he ended up moving it. So like they were going to be split forces with Mitten Tactical, but now all of them should be there. They get MagFed gear. Some of them don't have it. So I mean, there's a pretty good community. Coyote Force is talking about coming. Obviously, I'll get the Kingsmen up here, one of the sponsor teams from my group, and all of the other operatives will be there as well.
Coyote Force, shout out to them.
Yeah, Coyote Force are good guys. There's talks of some of the tanks coming. Narf's tank, the Goblin might be there. We'll see. Team Tags, that guy, he runs TFXs. He might be there to play. So, I mean, I've talked to someone who's got flights booked from Minnesota, but they just haven't registered. I've talked to guys down in Georgia that we're talking about coming up. So, I'm expecting a good turnout. And with 0 Hour taking a pause for next year, I'm expecting a better turnout. This is kind of being that it's around the same time of year. I'm hoping it should draw in some of those people. Plus, it's a little more centrally located, right? Like,
yeah,
I would say the field. I mean, looking at here, I can pull that up too, actually.
Well, I'm definitely going to be there, so you can count me in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can see me, and it's Michigan. So looking at Michigan here, right? So like Pinckney is like right kind of there.
Yeah.
So I don't need to pull up a map. I was going to pull up a map. So,
yeah.
Talking about location, I mean, what you got like all of Indiana that can come because it's a 5 hour drive. You've got all of the Chicagoland because it's another 5.5 hour drive. So like Big Red and all those guys coming from Blast Camp will be there. You've got all of the like Ohio area, the Pennsylvania area. All of those people will come in. The New Yorkers will get drawn in by one shot, one kill. They'll make the trip, especially with 0 Hour not being out that way. Now I think MagFed Monsters is talking about coming. They're real excited. So, like, I mean, it should be a pretty big, exciting event. I'm expecting a good turnout. Not to dive
too much. A 2-day event, right?
Talking about all those and giving all those shout outs and stuff.
Yeah. This is a 2-day event?
Yep.
Okay.
Camping. There's camping on site. So there's a bunch of campsites that there's actually more even back here even too. So there's plenty of camping. It's near a major city, so you'll be able to get a hotel really easily that's not far.
Which day is this again? I always forget.
The dates?
No, the state.
Michigan.
Michigan.
That's where I'm from. That's why I was holding up my hand because it's Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. Okay, you definitely did say that. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. Yeah, so I mean, there's lots of like amenities. Health Survivors always brings in food trucks. You don't have to worry about packing all your food in your Blackstone or your Char Grill or whatever. Just enjoy the ease of eating from the food trucks and having good food. We're still close to major cities, so we have good access to food trucks and stuff. So, the events, they always do a nice job there. The fill station works well. It's a shipping container lined with hoses to fill up. The field's really organized. They're going to have first strikes there. They're going to have first strike plus there for all those people that don't want to file their first strikes or sort them by weight. It's all field paint only. They're going to have, they run Enola Gay smokes. I'm going to have the Velkin Thunder Flashes. As long as they're back in stock, I'll have them there. So you can get those from my tent. That's like the one ammo thing that I'm going to be able to sell.
Yeah, I just see how far Michigan is from Philly. Yeah, I think it's like what?
I think it's like a 7. I think that's a 7 hour drive. If I remember correctly. I've made the drive from Philly before. I think I drove all the way out. Yeah, I drove all the way out to like not Lancaster, but I went out. I don't know. Been all over the place.
Yeah.
for paintball and for work, so I don't even know anymore. But
that's not bad.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as game format goes, like, so this is it's not an actual helicopter, but it's like a structure they built to look like a helicopter. Number 8 here on the screen.
Okay.
So the starting teams are going to start in 12, which is East Point, and 6, which is West Point. And this is actually not flat terrain right here, so it does look like it's a little bit farther away from East Point, but we'll have them probably start behind West Point a little bit to make it a little bit more fair, but we'll figure out what the middle ground is. The point is that the helicopter will be in the center. The helicopter is going to have one of the Ares Alpha advanced tactical boxes, they're ATBs, the Pro version, and I'll have it hooked up to track via GPS. Everybody who logs into the Ares Alpha app and gets on the game will be able to see a live location of where that box is at all times. It's also going to be tracking its location, and you're going to have to extract it to your base. When you get shot, you have to drop it. So the teams are going to have to get to the helicopter from their base, grab the black box, and bring it back to their base, and then hold it there for 10 minutes while it gets attached to the invisible helicopter and extract it.
It's nice.
That's the first mission. Now, I tell everybody, there's no lunch. It's just until this is done. So if you have an Olympic sprinter on your team and they run up and grab the box and sprint back, that portion of the game is over. Granted, that won't be very fun, but I'm sorry, that's just part of the game.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's a battle. Hopefully it goes back and forth and it's a little tug of war. Hopefully it gets extracted by the end of the day, and maybe I'll intervene because it definitely needs to get extracted at some point. So the second it gets extracted, granted, if they're here, East Point's team front line will be kind of in this little pivot point right here and cutoff point, and then this will be kind of where they're at too. So immediately once it's extracted, the objectives will change. There's towers down here called Tippmann Tower and Highlands.
Okay.
Down here at 1 and 3. And then Castle Rock, which is 14. This is a very traditional style, like Hell Survivors game in some sense, because a lot of the big game scenarios, there's people that go out into the back of the field and have fun or whatever, but like the majority of the people that play at Hell Survivors end up playing in this battle from Castle Rock to Highlands over here. It's very traditional for Hell Survivors to turn out that way. And everybody's fighting over this land bridge that's right here. There's a swamp, and then there's a bridge going across it. And that's where we fight most of the time at Hell Survivors. Because it's uphill to Castle Rock, and it's uphill to Highlands, so it's like a ravine through all of this. It's not flat. Plus, from Fort Knott to Fort Myers, so from 5 to 4, there's a bridge with no hand railings through cattails, and it's called the Bridge Too Far. And it's like a 2-man bridge. Like you can't really, it's honestly like a 1-man bridge. And you have to just like run across it with cover fire. So that's always fun to do, like those death pushes trying to get across that. But the second half of the game, once that's capped, will turn into like a very traditional, like 2-flag Halo CTF style, 2-flag capture the flag. So there will be a flag at Highlands. There will be a flag at Castle Rock. The team is actually going to have to get over to Highlands or over to Castle Rock and extract the flag. How are we doing on time? Sorry, because I don't know when we're ending. Just want to make sure.
Oh, we're good. Still good. It's a good hour in so far. Hour and 3 minutes.
Okay, what are we? Is it 2 hours?
We could do
I don't know what your schedule.
another 30, another 45 minutes. It won't really matter.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, sorry. I didn't ask that ahead of time, so
You're good, man. It's usually in by an hour 45 or 2 hours or hour 30.
Okay, I knew it was longer than an hour, so okay.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a lot of the talking, so I apologize. If you want to ask questions about any of this, go ahead.
Nah, man, I'm just listening. I'm really trying to understand and know this event very well. So far, I'm taking notes.
Okay, cool. So, very traditional, like capture the flag, 2 flags. So they'll actually have to grab the flag and take it back. Same kind of rules. You get shot with it, you drop it. Don't throw it. Ask that you guys respect the Ares Alpha equipment. It's definitely a point I like to make because it's expensive when it comes from Austria. So I can't just replace it easily.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not really like making any kind of funds from the game. So if something breaks, it's going to be all on me. But yeah, so like that'll just go on for the rest of the day. So whether one flag gets captured, no flags get captured, or whatever, it'll just keep going until the end of the play time, which is 5. So 5 o'clock hits, and the main portion of the game's over. Then some more fun stuff happens. So that first night will be the players' party. So House Survivors has a tiki bar, so you'll be able to have a cocktail or a beer with your buddies. All the Magma community is really tight, so it'll be nice to converse, kind of get everybody together. I think that we missed that at some of the other bigger events that all the MagFed guys come out, is we don't have that leisure time built into the game, right? Each group does their own thing, but nobody hangs out at the field. So, the player party will be going on. We'll probably do like some small side competitions of like cornhole or beer pong or something like that. They usually do that there at the player party.
Okay.
And then, I always space on the name of this, and I was doing this when I was at my last event. And I never looked it up, but let me grab it really quickly because I don't want to call it something different than what it is. Second, I gotta pull it up on my phone, but it's here. Looking for the schedule. There we go. The Battle Ready Aesthetics Competition. So haven't seen that in the rules. It's kind of a fashion show, if you will. A lot of us invest in our kits, especially the LARP people, the ones that want to do the kit building and buy the fancy optics or the fancy chest rig or the neat camouflage or something. So we're going to do a little competition around that and either have a panel of judges or, if any of the like paintball celebs come or something, like Wolf and Nightmare and any of those guys, maybe some of the operatives. We'll have them do like a panel system for a judge, and there'll be limited entries. It'll be like kind of like entering in a pistol competition, one pistol competition, but it'll be probably a like pool based type prize. So first, second, third will get percentages of the earnings basically for the entries. Be just kind of fun, everybody can strut their stuff on stage and show off their kit. Because Health Survivors has a nice big stage there too, so it's kind of fun. So yeah, that'll all be going on from like 5 to 8. So we don't have a ton of time, but people can still keep doing this stuff throughout the night too. But at 8 o'clock, we'll start the night game, and there's actually a night game in like the Sin City area here on 13.
Yeah.
So, House Survivors got bought, and that's why I'm doing this too, is because I want to help the new owners be successful.
Okay.
And they are coming from the Haunted Forest, haunted house business. So they bought the property to kind of expand their haunted forest, but also still wanted to run the paintball park. So around this time, you might see some like Halloween props and stuff up still from that because they keep them up year round. But the like Sin City will be all lit up with black lights eventually. And by this game, they'll have them all up. So we'll be playing. I don't know if have you ever seen the videos from PB Fit?
Don't think I have.
This. Maybe we can pull one of those up in a little bit and I'll show it. But they have speedball fields that are all lit up under blacklight.
Yeah.
Well, this whole pillbox area, which kind of resembles Capital Combat Zone a little bit, like with the pillboxes and everything.
Okay.
That whole area will be lit up with blacklight. Plus, there's like a wood line going across because the center is the swamp, which is like it's called Water Snake Swamp. That whole thing is a swamp. So along the like beach area of the swamp, will still be like not lit, and for those people that play with night vision goggles or want to sneak in the dark, they'll be able to go out that way away from the black lights. But First Strike rounds glow in the dark, and they're going to have glow paint there too. So, you can pack tracer rounds if you want to and do like paintball, glow in the dark, paintball, and do like the every 3 shots or whatever, or pack a full mag of glow paint, or just shoot First Strike rounds that glow. You'll be able to do all that, or just mix paint in your box rotor and shoot a random little tracer round every once in a while. So you'll be able to have that like little nighttime realistic effect a little bit, right? Be a little bit different gameplay. Most of us probably aren't used to.
Yeah, I haven't played a night game in so long, man. Been a while for me.
I'm excited for the night game because a lot of people don't play night games because they don't want to get just like obliterated from the shadows.
Yeah.
But I don't think that'll be a problem here because we'll be all under blacklight. So those people that don't want to do that, they'll just get annoyed, won't have that effect because they'll be under blacklight and everybody can see, but it's still like night and dark.
I'm looking forward to that. To tell you the truth, I'm looking forward to that night game, man. I love night games. Night games does bring out the best out of you. I'm not gonna lie. Night games and rainy, even when the rain comes, rain same way.
I am a little nervous about rain. It is April. It's Michigan. We're surrounded by lakes, but
yeah,
in April it dries up a little bit normally. So,
can you also share the website you showed me earlier? Just a little bit of feedback that we were saying earlier about that. How you had the different roles.
Oh yeah, I can show that. Do you want me to finish up because we just got through day 1 of the event? We didn't even do day 2.
So, oh wow, I thought day 1 and 2. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So day 2, the team that extracted the black box are going to have the codes to the bomb because they extracted the black box. And there's going to be 2 bombs. They're going to be predetermined locations inside Highlands and Tittman Towers. It's an uphill battle. It's quite steep, and there's bunkers and stuff. You'll probably the team will start around 15 there. Yeah. They're going to fight uphill to 1 and 3, Tittman Towers and Highlands. So, there'd be probably a spawn delay because the spawn is in the bottom right-hand corner here, away from Highlands. That's where the tower team's spawn will be. So there'll probably be a spawn delay for them, and then the other team will just have unlimited timing to go up and try to capture the bomb. But they'll have the codes to punch in, and they'll have to arm both bombs in order to win. And then final battle will happen after that game, and that'll be in Sin City again during the daytime. The difference will be it's not just like a slapstick or something in the center of the field. Ares Alpha runs not only the bombs, so the bombs will be on Ares Alpha and everything, but it has control points. So like kind of like Hardpoint in Call of Duty or Domination in some other games. There will be 3 points throughout Sin City that the teams will have to capture and hold. They'll have to spawn in and recap. And you scan your tag, and then it takes 1 minute to charge up the base, and then it starts earning points. And everything's live scored on Ares Alpha, so any player can bring up their phone or flip it down from their chest rig and their protection thing and check the score, see where the team is. If you're using the phone app, it can track your GPS location so you can see where your players are.
Yeah.
So, it'll be kind of techy in that way too.
It's pretty. That's pretty new to me.
If I can get the boxes in and they have it built, they're working on it right now over in Austria. There will be kill tracking too, so you'll have to scan back in and it'll capture points for the kills.
Hmm.
And then the commanders are able to take their points and spend them if they want to on things like UAVs. So like all of the players on one team will be able to temporarily see for maybe like a minute in a certain area where all the other players' GPS locations
are. Oh wow.
And like there's other power-ups and stuff like that too.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's crazy and it sounds really complicated, but I made it as like simple as possible, like very basic use. Games that we're familiar with, right? Like I talked about Halo and Call of Duty. Like we all know how to play those games for the most part.
Yeah.
And then like you can still come to this game and not participate in objectives and still have a good time. Like I made it that way on purpose. Not everybody's an objective player. Some people just want to come out and shoot. They'll be able to do that. And you'll still be contributing. You don't have to use your phone app. If you don't want to bring phone out there, don't. It is recommended because you're going to have a little bit more fun, but you don't have to. Plus, you can get a cheap phone off of Facebook Marketplace and run it for the weekend or whatever. Put some minutes on it. Like there's ways to go about it. Like you don't have to bring your iPhone 16 that you just bought for $1,000 out on the field. You don't have to do that. So for people to complain and say, "Oh, well, I should bring tablets for every player," like no, you can go on Facebook Marketplace and buy a $20 Gen 1 iPhone, and it can run the Ares Alpha app. As long as I shouldn't say Gen 1. As long as you can put the new operating system on the phone, it can download the Ares Alpha app and run it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to this event, man. It sounds, like you said, sounds complicated, but it's really not.
No, it's as complicated as you make it. It's going to be complicated for the generals because this game is going to play like no other game they played before.
Yeah.
Which is enticing to most generals anyways.
It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. Understandable. And it should be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this for sure.
Awesome. Well, you said you want to look at that other thing too, so I'll bring that up. Do you want to look at the builder or do you want to look at the squad roles? Because squad roles kind of play into this game.
Squad roles. Squad roles? Squad roles, yeah.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about Spec Ops Paintball and where I got started and where some of the ideas behind what I'm trying to do came from. And that's kind of where I took and manipulated this stuff. So I made these roles in keeping in mind that we're still paintball, not taking actual military positions and trying to make, some people find this term offensive, but I hope not because I'm just saying it, but LARPerator roles. It's not really made for the LARP or the Milsim guys. That's not really the point of this. It wasn't back in the day either. It was for the Woodsball guys. So this is just paintball and paintball tactics. That's all this is. But these are the strategic combat roles or the old squad roles that Spec Ops used to have. And I did rebrand them, remake them, make them my own, and make them into MagFed. So I think that witnessing MagFed throughout my time playing, it's been a lot of like, oh, I'm pinned down behind a bunker because I got a first hit coming at me. Well, I think that's what's going to be really interesting about that black box game is because you have to move during that black box game.
Right.
And there's not a lot of bunkers out there. Like it's bunker sparse. There's not going to be a bunker for every player out there. So it will change the dynamics of that game very heavily and how that actually plays out. The snipers will love it because there's gonna be only so much that people can hide behind. A little thicker brush, but so these squad rules play into that game a little bit too, because I made the rules around some of these things. So your core rules this is all based off of like a 10-man team. So
Right.
trying to be a little bit more organized about how we play in MagFed specifically. Kind of like we were talking about earlier with the airsoft group, right? Like you said, what did you say about that?
More organized when it comes to squads. Yeah.
Yeah, like you were talking about how they played and stuff.
Yeah, their strategies and just how they just how they battle. Yeah, like they have different positions and like for example, you have a squad that's a contract. They're hired as contractors, to take over this or take over that or to get this objective or to get this hostile. This hostage I meant. So that's kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's the same kind of thing. So like there's actually you can build fire teams in Ares Alpha, and that's kind of what it's based off of. So like our commanders should know how to run that Ares Alpha app pretty well. And if they haven't, shame on them. That's going to be a huge pivotal thing for them to run this game. But they should be breaking up on those well-known teams. So like, MagFed Monsters should be a fire team, essentially, for the one-shot, one-kill team. One-shot, one-kill should be broken up into like 6 groups, 7 groups, because they have 60, 70 players, right?
Yeah.
So 10-man teams peppered throughout these positions. So your core roles are your basic roles. So like your Saber medium rifleman, they're kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. They can do a little bit of everything. Not one play style really fits them perfectly, but they're like an average rifleman, right? They can get up in the mix and be frontmen if they need to, or a dagger, or they can drop back and lay in cover fire or whatever for the broadsword. So they're the fill-in. So if the broadsword gets hit, taken out, then the Saber fills in for that person so that the team can be more full. So that was the original format to the Spec Ops roles. And as you can see, Heavy Rifleman's on there, and that's where the HR comes from for HR Tactical too. I was a broadsword back in the day. I ran an A5 with a Apex or a flatline barrel. And that was what you needed back then in order to do it. And that's how I played too. It was kind of like accuracy by volume and cover fire. So you're talking about these basic squad roles, like your scout marksman isn't like a traditional sniper, full ghillie suit, bolt action. You're talking about more of like a DMR kind of style build gun, maybe a little bit of ghillie, like some stuff like hanging off their booty hat or something like that, but nothing like too restrictive. They're still kind of like an average build kind of role. And they might go a little bit distance because they're definitely running first strike rounds. Or your dagger light rifleman who's running some kind of semi-auto or full auto gun that's got a light loadout. They're kind of the fodder of the group, the ones that are probably going to run up and get shot out, but they're going to make little short jabs, right? Like the weapons that are part of these names kind of instruct how they play. Like daggers make short jabs, sabers, average saber guys, your average swordsman, broadswords making those big swings of covering fire, so on. So, the squad roles kind of fit along that same kind of premise, really. So and then, of course, your commander. But yeah, go ahead.
So, question. Let's say there's a team of 50. How can this be split up into these roles?
Well, if you have a team of 50, you're going to have 5 teams of 10. And then you're going to have to organize those teams into task groups. So they're a task force, basically. And those fire teams are going to accomplish certain things. So they're going to be built out the same way you would put attachments on your gun to do a certain thing. You're going to build your team out the same way. you're going to have your core roles. You're going to need a squad lead and then some of these other roles, right? But then you're going to dive into your specialty roles based off of what their objective is. Like if they're there to play defense, then you're probably going to want more of the like defensive type roles, like your broadsword, your shield operators, maybe sniper team, demolition because they're tank killers, stuff like that. So like if they're a defense role, they're that. If they're a more offense role, you're gonna want your hammer, you're gonna want signal comms text, you have good communication, and then of course mix your squad roles too. So, and then if you're like it's like an objective team, obviously you want good comms, you want your engineer strategists on the team so that they know how to accomplish the objective.
Yeah.
Maybe something else to support, maybe a shield operator help get them up to the objective, and then of course a mix of your core roles. You're always gonna have a mix of the core roles in the 10-man group.
Well, I hope this information helps. That's all I could say, man. This is definitely a lot of gems you're dropping right now. Can't even lie. You got my head over here pounding like, man.
Well,
really,
and it's not even for my game only. Like this is just how you can play.
Yeah.
Like these roles already exist. I didn't really create anything new. People play like this. People have a shield, and they play a shield game. Like I didn't create anything new with it. It's just like I'm like, this is how you can use your shield on a squad.
You just re-strategize it. That's all. You re-strategize it so people can understand it more. Because you still have some people who claim they follow the rules and don't follow the rules, and then they cause certain things happen to you at different events, which I have seen as well over the years.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that is what I think that was actually one of the reasons why I did this, because when you when back in the day when Spec Ops was around, you had a new player. They knew of Spec Ops because it was a pretty big company. People knew about it, right?
Yeah.
We all spoke the same language. There wasn't as many positions. It was sniper, hammer, squad lead, broadsword, saber, and dagger. Those were all the positions. And everybody spoke the same language because they all knew what this stuff meant. So tactics-wise, pickup games were fine because it was like, oh, look, this player is built out this way. I remember reading about this online because I was interested. And now I know what this player is going to play like. So all those strangers that you meet when you're playing in other places,
they're
all speaking the same tactic language. And I think that's where we get lost a little bit too, because our squads don't really stick together all the time. And you try to, but sometimes you get separated from your group. Then you're out playing with a bunch of strangers. But like, how do you play with strangers? How do you strategize with strangers? You all have to speak the same language.
I mean, for me, whenever I come across new players or players that I just haven't played with, but I think it has to play with communication, man. That has to play a big role in it. I know for me, playing with, I mean, I guess you want to say randoms, but just playing with different people over the years, man, I think communication has to play a part. And also help others understand the game more. Like most guys, when they see how I operate on the field, as in being that leader, like I said earlier, being that leader and just letting them know, like, hey, we don't have to push straight ahead. We can flank left or flank right, or we could send more guys to the left and maneuver through these buildings or through these trees, Like I always find ways to just strategize into doing things in a better way. That's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So many guys.
See, and now you can do that once everybody's speaking the same language and having good communication. You can do that and be like, "Hey, Flash or Shield operator, move up here. We're going to send a flank off to the left with a saber and we're going to take the engineer up and flank left so we can get up and get to the objective."
Right.
And like you can look at someone and you're like, their kit's built out this way. Like they're gonna know because they built their kit out that way and be like, look, I'm a Clash, like I'm a shield guy. Like obviously the shield's very evident and I'm using it as a very obvious thing, but
yeah,
like so to speak, like any of the other positions the same way. Like once we get everybody speaking the same language, then we'll be able to have more fun. I mean, really, that's all it's all about, right? Like, is to do different things. Because when we're just sitting there and lobbing first strikes at each other, like it's fun, but there's a whole nother layer of fun that could be had.
Like I'll give you an example. Let's say I am the lone wolf / commando. Can you go up just a little bit, tab a little bit, and well, no. Let's say I'm the heavy gunner, and let's say I have a lone wolf and a sniper. You know, I would always tell the sniper to play back. I feel like when he plays back, he's my guy that watches my six. You know, he has the floor of everything he sees in his sight, with no questions. You know, he's the man that has your back, right? And for me, even though I'm the gunner, I'm not just going to flat out just start shooting anything. No, I have to see what he sees first in order for me to make my moves. So while I'm maneuvering, let's say we're in the woods. While I'm maneuvering in the woods, I want to see what the enemy sees, you know? Because there's always guys in front of you. There's always targets in front of you nonstop. But where are they at? So I know how to maneuver to the woods. That way I can send my lone wolf, which he is also doing the same thing I'm doing, but he's doing a little bit more than me. Because I'm more so the covering guy. Like I'm just giving you cover, but I'm also letting these guys, like I'm letting them not push up, you know? So I think when it comes to like events, it's kind of what I meant earlier, like be more organized, you know? Like you have to know your players. You have to know the style of the game. You know, MagFed to me is a chess game. You know, like you have to know how to maneuver in this chess game. You know,
you need to know what a rook does versus a bishop.
And anybody could just flat out shoot paint all day long. I don't mind doing it. I have a box mat, a box with EMS. I can do that all day long. But the goal for me is not just to shoot all day long, it's to maneuver to the enemy line so I can get in their spawn, which I'm very good at. You know, that's just the style play I have, you know, of flanking and taking over their spawn and just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of bringing up an example of like a potential scenario, right? Like, so you have a sniper that's a little bit back further, a hammer that's sitting there holding back a couple guys. Yeah. You know, they're at an objective at a bunker, right? Like a little base in the woods or something. So, and then you as a lone wolf, you're going to go off by yourself out in the thick of the woods and sneak around and flank all by yourself and be a one-man team, ambushing them, taking them on from a direction that they're not looking because they're distracted by the hammer heavy gunner or keeping their head down from the sniper.
But I feel like you can't think too much when it comes to this scenario. You have to be, you have to just
be reactive and have it happen.
I mean, like you have to play it smart, but you can't overthink it, you know? Like for me, I'm an overthinker. I'm just gonna be honest. I overthink a lot. But I also know how to just think about one thing at a time, and hopefully this gets me where I need to be at, you know? And that's part of what makes the game fun about MagFed. You know, MagFed to me, like I said, it's a chess game. If you know how to play the game, you will win every single time. Big shout out to Tango. I'm just gonna be honest. Tango, to me, him in Canada, he's like the Floyd Mayweather out there. Like this guy don't lose at events. You know, every event he's a general or XO, he doesn't lose. Why? Because he know how to strategize and he's very organized with his guys. Like he knows who to send here, who to send here, who to take here, who to play back. You know, like he's mastered over the years to the point where you're not gonna beat this guy at his own game. Let's just be real. Like you have to figure out a better game plan. So I'm gonna be honest. When I first played against Tango, and I have to give him his credit and his props. this guy know how to send people your way, just to make a example out of you. I remember playing with Tonka. Like, I told Tonka, like, hey, I know that we have a small squad. We can still make things happen only if you have the right leaders. So he used me as one of the leaders. Wolf was one of the leaders as well. So I'm grabbing like a good 10, 15 guys. I'm saying, hey, if we can make a push to this hallway and keep this hallway down, we can somehow get to their spawn. You know what Tango did, man, that really threw me off, and I had no clue until like the mid game.
Mm-hmm.
The third floor I thought was closed, but it wasn't. The third floor had somehow like an opening from his side to our side, and they somehow snuck through a secret door that we didn't know about. So the secret door.
That's just bad knowledge.
Yeah, but it's the hallway that threw me off and the stairway. So I'm hearing guys shoot, and I'm like, hold up, this is our side. There's no way that we're friendly firing. No, his guys made a major push on that third floor, which threw us off and had to make us rethink that all over again. So, man, shout out to Tango, man. He got some tricks up his sleeve, man, I have to say.
Well, you said you got to, not overthink it and just make it happen. And
yeah.
You have a squad trained on what these roles are.
Yeah.
You're naturally going to know what the other person next to you is doing because they're going to stick to their role. And you're going to instantly know how to tackle a situation no matter how it changes because you're set up to do so.
Yeah. And I think that your role, I'm just going to say your role because, I feel like you laid it down better than before, than how others have theirs. Like, that role can really help a lot of people understand what they're doing. Not many people that play MagFed know what to do. Just going to be honest. Like, when I first played at my first event, I had no clue. I'm just like, all right, we're just going to flank or something, or I'm just going to have to bum rush them or just play back, Like, it takes time to
first strike or try to dodge one in the air.
Yeah, and after a while, it's like, man, things get hectic. People are shooting hot. I'm just going to say it. People shoot hot. People overkill. People cheat out of bounds. I have seen it all. I'm just going to be real. Or I'm sorry, I've seen majority of things that people do in, MagFed events. Yes, I have seen it. And also scenario games. So I think that your role definitely plays a huge impact for sure. So shout out to that, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's actually one concern I have a little bit because the sniper role in Hell Under Siege, the ambush sniper role 1 and 2, roll 2 and 3 on screen right now. The hammer and the ambush. Those roles are going to have minimum ROE or rules of engagement of a minimum distance of 40 feet to engage with their main gun. So they'll be actually chronoed up higher for the drum that the hammer has or the sniper role. And likely they'll be shooting first strike rounds. I'd be surprised if they aren't. Obviously, you got to be made of money in order to be a hammer because you're going to be shooting drums at first strike rounds on full auto. But there's people that chrono's at 300.
Okay. And that's for sniping or?
That's for the sniper and the hammer. So the full auto first strikes guys with drums can chrono to 300 feet per second. But they can only shoot at you from 40 feet or more away.
Yeah, you got to make that very clear, man.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to have a special card that denotes who they are, and they'll be spot checked. And also, the players are going to need to be spot checked in the field quite frequently for velocity as well, because you're going to have those people that are pissed off that they can't go up to 302. And it's just going to happen. And as annoying as it is, because we're trying to make the game a little bit different, there's still going to be people that do that. So, obviously I can ask till I'm blue in the face that you don't do that, but there's still going to be people that do. So, and the same thing with the sniper too. They're going to be able to shoot a little further just because they're higher velocity. Now, granted, it's not that big of a win because the field velocity cap is actually 289. So, you're only 11 feet per second more.
Yeah.
But it's enough. Enough to make a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
So, and 289 is with first strikes too. So it's going to be already a little bit more intense game. That's kind of why I liked and chose Hell Survivors, is because they don't have a BPS cap. Their chrono is 289. Their rules are like made to be like old school paintball, where they're just fun old school woods ball rules. Like a lot of the other fields have more modern insurance companies, and they don't allow a lot of the same rules. Like I've been out there and played with autocockers going 25 BPS. Like the field just allows all that stuff. They have smoke grenades, launchers, tanks, all of those things that make a game really fun because there's just unique things going on can still happen there.
It's a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I'm looking forward to this event, though. I feel like this event, I mean, I always say this, and it is always one of being true. It's definitely a game changer. Always.
I hope so. I'm just trying to do something a little different, something familiar that, like, we all know, and something that we're familiar with because it's still MagFed. Make it my own a little bit. Make it fit HR Tactical as well. Help the field out. Give the community something different and somewhere to like hang out. Like, I think that's the fun part about this game too, is that like you don't have to play the night game. You can party all you want. You can get sloshed at the bar and crawl back into your tent and go play paintball the next day if it's what you want to do. Like, you know, or if you're not a drinker, you still get to hang out. Or if you're not a drinker, you can go play the night game. Like, there's just stuff to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I think builds community and a good time and will make you want to come back and come to another event, because it wasn't just the paintball. It was everything else that goes with the paintball that makes you want to come back.
Okay. I got 2 more questions for you. My next question, have you ever been have you sponsored anyone or partnered with anyone? If I'm not mistaken, Creep Show from Winslow K.
Yep. So I have the HR Tactical Operative Program, and I've rallied a group of guys together now that are from all different walks. Right? Like I've got the Kingsmen. They were the first. It was a team.
Kingsmen. Shout out to Kingsmen.
So great guys, super into what they do. They all are very organized. They win a decent amount of events down in the Texas area. It was one of the reasons why I went to Texas for my first game, is because I want to meet them. They were a small team just getting started around the same time as me. And I was like, hey guys, like I'll be honest with you, I can't do a whole lot for you right now, so I'm just getting started. But as I grow, I'll try to do more for you as I can. Still working on all of that too, because with the expansion that I've had to do so quickly, it's absorbed anything extra. But once it's big and stable, that's when, you know, I'll have more to be able to play with here. But, you know, so I got that team, and I just wanted to have a sponsored team, like a group of guys to, you know, talk to about and bounce ideas off of and stuff like that. So I got them in, and then I met from my own personal play. I met Sidewinder PB, so he's one of our operatives as well. He's a
guy, Sidewinder.
Yep. You probably met him. He just tries to make it out to games. Great dude. Always excited to play. Friendly. Will play with anybody. Jump in, and that's kind of how I am too. Like something that drives community. I'll shoot next to anybody. So it doesn't matter, you know. We'll figure it out, make it work, and we'll play.
Yeah, Sidewinder, he's one of the guys that was rocking with me in Canada last year. First time I actually met him. Definitely a great dude, man. He'll tell you stories about me all day long about Honey Badger. Like he was everywhere, outside, inside, first floor, second floor, fourth floor. He was everywhere. Third floor, he was everywhere, bro. He was everywhere.
Yeah, definitely good guy. And then I got Alpha 22 MagFed, or Kyle Tutsis, up in Canada in Saskatchewan.
Another guy, good guy,
solid dude. Same
Great
thing,
guy.
full of energy.
Yeah,
Always excited to play. Drives the community in his area as well. Will drive 14 hours, 16 hours to go to a game because he's in the middle of nowhere in Canada.
yeah.
All about community and his tribe and his group of guys that he plays with. So I got to meet him for the first time when I went up to Wasaga Beach. That was fun. So yeah,
Definitely
talked with
understand
him. And then who came next? It was Two Cracked. He runs the LARP room down in Florida. So I got a Floridian.
I may have met him. Over the years. Yeah, I may have.
He was on Task Force 83, Milsim, for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know those guys.
Kill the Bees too, a little bit down in Florida.
Gotcha.
He's since kind of taken on more of an airsoft gel ball kind of gameplay, which I'm not totally built around. I can get gel ball stuff. I just haven't built it onto the site yet because I don't get traffic for it, so it's not worth my time right now. I have so much paintball stuff to sell.
Yeah.
And then the airsoft stuff is interesting because I'm gonna sell airsoft equipment. The whole point of it is that like if you play MagFed, you'll be able to shop with me and get whatever you need.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to accomplish. So if you need airsoft BBs, I have airsoft BBs. If you want a new airsoft AR, I have a few to choose from. If you need an airsoft Glock, I have a few Glocks. I have Max Tech mags that you can't really get anywhere else too. Those are pretty cool. They have like a regulated CO2, which is kind of interesting for CO2. You don't really see regulated pressures of CO2. It makes they perform better in hot environments. So kind of unique product there, but that's made for airsoft Glocks. Yeah. So, little dabbling in airsoft a little bit. I have a bunch of real steel parts too. So, that transfers over to airsoft pretty well. And then I got Creepshow on just because I like his vibe. Creepshow's a solid dude. I think he's in the chat maybe still. I don't know if he's still hanging out. But always full of energy. Great time to be around.
Definitely a solid dude.
Yeah, his content's awesome. I was crying the other day at his video for the Greg's Gear holster giveaway because it was making me laugh so hard. Is excited about the sport, wants to support it any way he can. Has a good time too. Yeah, he's still in there. I see his that's definitely Creepshow. So I've had a lot of fun talking with him. Might get to do a little bit of fun stuff at the bar with him too. We'll see. I don't drink myself because my cancer mishap there, but
yeah,
we're talking about maybe trying to keep a drink around him a little bit and get something the color of his mask. So do a kind of like maybe like Incredible Hulk or something like that, where it turns out that lime green that matches his mask color, and we'll have a Creepshow drink. Yeah, we'll do something like that. We'll see. We'll have fun. We'll have fun at the players' party. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
And then as of recently too, I haven't really posted anything about it. I don't know if I really am because it's kind of more real steel related. But since I have so much real steel stuff on my site, and also the custom gun cases too, would be something that a real steel user would want. There's a PNW Tactical is a YouTube channel, and he's a little smaller YouTuber, but I got hooked up with him, and we're gonna. I got him hooked up with one of the cases too, a small one, so he can show that on his YouTube channel, and maybe I can get some gun customers. Which, again, I don't sell real firearms; I just sell parts, but I get a fair share amount of real steel customers buying from me. So, and that helps fund all of the paintball stuff too. So, I make a couple bucks off selling a handguard to a guy that shoots an AR-15 or an optic. Cool. Goes right back into paintball stuff. So I can do stuff for the Magpie community. So, you know, I was like, oh, whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll grab one guy that can, you know, get the word out if I got something new for Real Steel, whatever. So
Creashow commented said, I'm doing my drink research still.
yeah, research, we'll call it, right? Yeah. No, you're going back and forth. He was playing mixologist a little bit. It's kind of fun. Dabbling into the culinary scene.
Yeah. Nah, man. Shout out to Creepshow, man. He actually gave me that name, the Prophet, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll never forget that. He gave that literally to me because my actual name was Lone Wolf. So you was right about that earlier. Yeah, okay. I was actually that was my second name was Lone Wolf. My first name was the Predator because of my hair, but the way I was moving.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So it was very catchy. It was very catchy, man. But yeah, shout out to him to giving the name the Prophet, man. That was a huge impact for a lot of people. Only because like I said earlier, like, you know, I prophesize on things, you know, like I'm a visionary. Like I have the vision. I have, like, I think so much ahead of my time is crazy. Like I don't know where it comes from, bro. I'm just gonna be real. Like you heard it earlier on the game, like, hey, this game is over. I'm gonna win this game. And look what happened. I won the game. You know, and that's a video of itself, like a proof that, you know, like people can also like have the vision. They can have it. Like it's just built in them. So shout out to Creashow for that, man. That's my guy. Awesome. Oh, that's my brother.
Yeah. I'm all about it. So, well, we got 9 minutes left.
See, I got one more question for you, man.
Okay.
This is usually the question I ask everybody.
If you want to save it for the last, we can save it for the last. I didn't know if you wanted. I always like, when I come on podcasts, I always like to show off something new. This time I don't have a part, but I have a new tool. Yeah. So I can quickly do a little overview of that just so you guys get a sneak peek. I like to do a sneak peek on there so anybody excited about my brand will come and watch the sneak peek on your channel, right?
Of course.
So, I'll go through it quickly a little bit, so because that way you can still ask your question there too. But I'm going to share it to get it open here. This is something I've been working on, and since you haven't been on the site recently, I upgraded it a bunch actually, and added a bunch of new things.
Creep said, "Is it Max?"
No, it's not a physical, tangible thing. Like normally, I'm coming on here on a podcast, I'm showing this new thing I'm making with 3D printing. Or something like that, or a new product I'm bringing in. This is actually not. This is something else. So I'll bring that up right now. So this is a page that I'm working on for the newer T15s. Now, granted, I think the Gen 5 has been in circulation a little bit, but they're like re-releasing it and putting it out as the builder kit. Which the builder kit for the T15 comes with your upper, your lower, a pistol grip, and a mag, and that's it. So you can build out your build the way you want to. So what I'm doing is, and shout out to Paul Reddick, if you're a T15 user, you probably watched his videos. He's very informational, great dude, another Canadian. He let me use this picture.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. Shout out to him, man. He's definitely the T15 guy for sure.
Yeah.
I think that was his. Is that his builds?
Yeah, those are his builds. So as I'm growing, I don't really have a ton of money to put towards, you know, product photography and stuff like that. So I look for good pictures that I could potentially use on the site. Creepshow's done some work for me with some selfies and things too. So shout out to Creepshow, and grab some of his war paint too. I made temporary tattoos of his teardrops on his mask so that you can get some war paint on before the game and get a temporary tattoo of teardrop first strike rounds on your face there. Get a little hype for the game that way. But one thing that I'm working we're going to do is this T15 builder. So you'll be able to, like, from tip to tail, build out a T15 the way you want to, all customized. So if you want to get a new one, or you don't have one, you want to get a T15 just for something different, you'll be able to start with that core and then build out. So scrolling down is the T15 builder. So you'll see this. As you can see too, I'm getting some different colors in too. So I'm going to be working with someone to do some Cerakoting and do an olive drab and an FDE upper so that you can get different parts. But you'll go through the steps, and all these links will work. I'm still working on the actual builder because you're viewing right now this inside the builder so you can see it. But you'll walk through your steps. So you'll choose your base, your main receiver upgrades, whether it be more advanced ones you might have to mod a little bit for, or your base ones for like drop downs and stuff like that. Pick your barrel, your handguard, foregrip, and aerial attachments, stock or air through, depending on what you're getting set up with, optics and sights. Move on to your magazines and accessories, and then grab a custom case. Now that you have your form factor set, you can get that custom case built for your water jet cut cases that I do, and then just check out. So you can buy everything start to finish, have something protected and ready to go. So you'll be able to grab this T15. You'll scroll down, continue on to the next page. It'll be one click, but in the builder, I have to click a couple times. You know, some of this will change a little bit because I'm still tweaking it. Like I might not make you guys scroll through this picture every single time. We'll see. But then you'll go through and you'll be able to like, I'll have some instructions on what this is and how to deal with it. Upgrades for your core, you know, like your drop down, air through stuff like that. Move on to your receiver upgrades. So you're going on to like picking pistol grip if you want to upgrade it from the one that comes with it, extended mag release, dust covers, quick strip pins, all that stuff. Move on to your barrel. So, and then you'll be able to top it all off. And I don't have the page built yet, so I'm going to show you somewhere else, but you'll be able to grab a custom case. So as you can see in this picture here, let's see if I can't really make it much bigger, but as you can see on the screen there, it's a form-fitting like custom case, and you'll be able to work with me on what your build looks like and get a case built out according to the shape that it's in. So you can travel with it, protect your gear, protect your investment, that kind of thing. So, and you can skip this if you don't want this, obviously, but like most of the MagFed community travels, they need something to haul their gear in, something organized. So, and the best part about it is I can throw a team logo on there. I can throw a full graphic across the back. I can label everything. You know, I can make little pockets for mags or whatever else you need. And it's all cut precisely to what you need and printed. So if you need a full back decal, you can. So like you want to open up your case and really wow someone when you got your team logo on your case, like what better way to represent?
Of course. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And there's some charges for some of the stuff, like to print on the back there. It's like, I think it's like $15, I think. 20, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. So anywhere from $15 to $30. So it's not that expensive to do it, but you know, you get something custom that's to your build, and you know, once you go through that builder, your form factor is not going to change much. But like if you want room for optics to change, like I can cut a square box around the optics, you can put a different optic on. Like so it doesn't have to be totally form fitting.
Wow. This is dope, man. I definitely love it, man. I'm definitely love it, man. I definitely will be supporting you as well, you know, with this, you know, and then if you ever need anything from me, contacts or connections, or, you know, you want to team up with some projects, I'm all down for it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I just added another operative, and it's going to have discount codes and things to be able to pass out. Yeah. And you know, the operatives, I don't always have open spots. Sometimes I'm a little more targeted on what I'm trying to do. So I know I've been approached by different people. I think I got approached by another Canadian. I was like, look, I already have the Frontlines podcast and I have a Canadian already. Like, it's only so big. I can't sponsor everybody. I think One Shot One Kill wanted a sponsorship, and I was like, I can't do your whole team sponsorship. Like, that's a lot of people, man. Like, like, you guys know about me, and you know, like, it. While I present myself as a big company on screen, or when I go to events and have a full tent, and because I want to do it right, it's still just me, and I still only do so much volume. I think that's an important thing that people forget, because you have all these big draw cards like ANS Gear and Lone Wolf, and you know, Pro Edge Paintball and Cousins Paintball and MCS and all those guys. And they have a full team behind them. They can do all the marketing and they can do all this stuff. And granted, I try to do what I can, but I'm still one guy. not saying that I falter in any way of anything that I've done. Like I'm able to still push through it as one person, and I have made things to be a certain way so I can handle it. But like I want to grow. In order to do that, I need more people. So eventually, once the money's there, I'll be able to do something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna help you out with that. I did have a plan. I'm glad that we're doing this podcast now. Hopefully in part two, if I can get in touch with KT again. Shout out to KT Trans from MCS, the founder and everything. I would love to have you and him on there, on the podcast and just going over a lot of things and discussing more things. I think that would definitely help you out as well. Maybe you can get some gems from him.
It'd be fun. I was a little disappointed because I tried to reach out to be a vendor because I want people to be able to get some of the things that they need.
Yeah.
Like, there's just some things that they make that like nobody else has. And it might be something that you really need to do a build, like a certain remote hookup or something like that. And I asked to be a vendor, and just because they didn't have a storefront, I couldn't be one. And like they don't make it out to events on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like I could bring their product in and set up in the tent. I don't have a storefront because Lone Wolf's 20, 30 minutes away from me. But the second largest paintball retailer in the world, I think, if not the US. Like it doesn't make sense for me to have a storefront. Like I'm not going to. I might have a warehouse. I might do a less lethal thing eventually with it, but I don't know if I want to go down that road. So for him to just turn me away like that, I was a little kind of disappointed in him, unfortunately. But something could change. Hopefully, hopefully it's a change of heart or something. I don't know. It'd be great to be able to bring MCS stuff over to the West Coast or the East Coast when I set up at events, and have that stuff there available for players. But I'd have to be able to.
Like I said, I'm making help with that. I don't know how much I can really do. I am sponsored by them. I got sponsored by them last year in October, so it's almost a year that I'm sponsored by them. So I can try to work my magic, maybe see what happens.
I mean, they make some good things for sure.
Yeah.
There's some things that you just can't get anywhere else because they've got it, and what they have is the only thing that's out there, and it does the job. So
that is true. So
but we're at the 2 hour 1 minute mark. Not to push you along, but I think you had one more question for me, right?
I sure do, man.
I still haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm sorry.
You're good, man. You're good. So my question is for you. What can you tell someone, who's new to paintball or been in paintball for a couple of years, 2 years, 3 years, or however long they've been in? What wisdom, inspiration you can give to them that will keep them pushing, just by you being solo the way you are, but how you're managing all these things all at once?
I would say don't fall into the hype, which sounds weird, right? Because like you want someone to be hyped up about. But I'm not talking about the actual like playtime. Fall into that hype for sure. Get out there and play. That's probably the biggest thing. Learn what you want to do. You've been playing for a long time. Think critically about what you're trying to accomplish as a player, how you play. Don't waste money on certain things. I spent too much money on stuff that didn't make sense when I first got back in again. Even I bought stuff I didn't need. I ended up trying to flip it and sell it so I could get other things. That's one of the things that I do is when a new player is getting started, sometimes they'll message me and I have a service that's on here for free you subscribe to, and it's just so I can get a positive review for my site. That's all it costs you is you logging in and giving me a review. And it doesn't even have to be positive. It's just a review. Generally, it turns out being positive because I'm helping you for free do a gun build or set up your kit or get you started. So, don't waste money on things that you don't need. That's probably the biggest thing, because you spend money on your kit, you blow money, you make a mistake, and you spend something like a $300 handguard when there's ones that work good for airsoft and paintball. That's a couple cases of paint. That's an entry to a field, a couple entries to a field. Like, get out there and play more, shoot more. It's what keeps these companies in business. It keeps you getting new guns every once in a while when you want something fixed, when they make new parts.
Wow. Well, you guys heard it, and keep going, man. Definitely keep going. I'm proud of you, man. I mean, we met, at 0 hour for the first time, man. But just what I have seen in this podcast and seen on social media, man, just keep going, man. I'm rooting for you, of course. You have my support. And I look forward to doing things in the future with you as well. When it comes to events, projects, and just traveling, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Even us going out somewhere, I'm fine with that too. I have no problem coming down there, to visit. When I go down there in the South and stuff, so I look forward to it, man. I really do.
Well, if you could make it to Texas in a couple weeks, you can see me at Conquering Hell.
I wish. I wish. I really do, man. Texas, I'm not gonna lie. Texas was a crazy drive for me. I drove to Texas actually.
Just fly there.
Yeah, but
get yourself a custom case, and then you can bring it on to the plane.
Yeah, that's I gotta work on it. I have to work on that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I gotta work on that. I'm not gonna lie. That's something I gotta work on. So I gotta be patient. That's all.
Yeah, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
But no, man, I look forward to just doing, a lot with you, man. And we can accomplish more, of course, in the future. So appreciate you, man, for being on this podcast. And for anyone that's still tuning in, thank you guys, man, for just being here, for being in this podcast as well. I look forward to the next podcast, of course. Stay tuned for more events, man, that's coming up this year, going into next year of 2025, man. And I will be attending as well.
The Canadian Invasion, Hell Under Siege. Get your pre-registrations in. End of April, the 26th and the 27th at Hell Survivors, Pinckney, Michigan. It's going to be a big game. Lots of stuff going on.
Where can they, is it online, right? Like where?
It's on Hell Survivors website.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I will be doing that as well.
You can find the link inside the event too. So you'll be able to find the event on my page on Facebook or Hell Survivors, and you can get in there to buy the tickets.
Nice. There you go. You guys have it. So I will be there. Make sure you guys are there as well. And stay tuned for the next podcast, man. Other than that, man, the Prophet Wolf is officially done this podcast.
Thank you, everybody.